Hey everyone, welcome to LezPod. You are here, my friends, because you believe in the Lgbtq community and the importance of sharing our individual stories to help impact one another. The goal of the show is to introduce you to people and ideas that are going to help motivate you to pursue your passions and empower you to believe in yourselves. Okay? My name is Alexandria Friedlander, and I'm here to introduce you to remarkable people who have helped shift the world we live in today. Today's guest is Jackie Salcedo.
Close.
Damn.
Salcedo.
And I'm Hispanic. That's the sad part. So Jackie Salcedo, okay, who is the founder of SheLife, and please help me welcome her to the show.
Woo! Yes.
Well, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate having you. You are the founder of SheLife events. It's a kind of big deal. You are changing the game for, the nightlife, the social life of lesbians, and I kind of want to just dig into that a little bit. Tell me about how it got founded, what inspired you to create it.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. I kind of want to know why you're saying that.
Why am I saying that?
Yes.
Because I just want to hear from your perspective.
No, in the sense of you said SheLife is changing.
You are. You're
how?
changing that. Because people, from what I've seen, are going out. They're going to your events. They're feeling a part of. They're feeling like there's something to do. Because I'm constantly getting messages on Les Miami, where are the parties? And I don't throw them. I always refer everyone to SheLife, to LezShe, to Pandora events, so I just feel like you should be aware and acknowledge that you are making a difference. So
sometimes that's hard to believe for me, because to answer your question, like how I started SheLife, it really was like a butterfly effect. It wasn't like something that I was planning, like, hey, let's do this Winwood Pride thing, or like let's do these big festivals and let's make it happen. It really happened out of necessity. It was all a butterfly effect. I was in a breakup, then I was looking into personal development. I went on YouTube. I started researching, how to get over a breakup. There was a motivational video, and in that motivational video, there was a personal development coach, and within that. I had subscribed to the YouTube channel, and then from there would watch, and every single episode he would post, I would just watch until the moment he said, hey, I'm down to coach 5 people around the world, and we passed to 2 interviews. We ended up going overseas for a retreat, and within that, my coach at the time was going to interview Gary Vee.
wow.
And he was in a boxing ring kind of seminar. It was very closed. It wasn't really massed out to the public. It was a really small niche. And after that event, and then after the question that I had asked Gary Vee, which was, what should I do? And he's just don't let fear get in the way, just do it. And then I'm on the way back home where I was stationed at in London. And I was just thinking, well, I haven't been to a lesbian bar, or I haven't been to Tavern. Tavern was a spot for me to go every Thursday in Sunset. So I hit up a friend and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing something cool for the girls, just because I wanted to do something. Because the scene wasn't there anymore. And that was it. And I started with that. And that's how we began our journey. With that, how we start SheLife was through a butterfly effect. It was a domino effect, one cause and effect. One little decision that happens that you make can completely give you a whole multiverse of reactions. So that's exactly what happened to me.
So basically, you were inspired to start something through, you were inspired by other people to create something of your own.
It inspired through pain.
Inspired through pain.
Right. It did inspire through pain, through a heartbreak. And I think with every contraction, there's expansion.
Oh, absolutely.
So with that, that was it. So you can either get defeated by pain or you can get inspired by pain. And I think I chose that route because if I stayed suffering or if I stayed ruminating about what happened, then I would stay in the same place. And sometimes staying in the same place, things can get familiar and you can get used to it and you can't move and you can stay stagnant. So for me, I'm not okay with staying stagnant. For me, I like to push myself. So it's fine if other people like to be okay, be complacent with how things are within their lives. But for me, it was different. And that is, I guess, what inspired me was through pain.
And let's talk a little bit about, let's give Gary a little shout out. Maybe he'll watch the video or not.
Yes! Oh my God, Gary V.
We are looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm grateful, and I know that we both have met him and how he's since, instilled such greatness into both of our lives. What was that like for you? What did that feel like to meet somebody that you had already looked up to and chosen to kind of invest in yourself? And what did that feel like, and how was that experience for the people out there that don't know, how important it is to invest in yourself?
Well, when I first heard that my coach was interviewing Gary Vee, I was like, whoa, like that guy is a big deal. Like he puts his time to investing into other people's happiness. Right. He's like, he sees he's very aware, which is crazy of how he's able to discern how someone, by just the pattern of how they're saying things, you're able to discern where you may be at in your life. And that was intriguing. But when I went over there, I was just like, he's so comfortable on stage. It's natural to him. It looked like he was born to do what he was meant to do, what he's doing now.
Right.
It wasn't like, it was so natural. Then I have never read any of his books until after that seminar. So he was talking in a boxing ring, and they had all of his books on the chairs, which was the jab hook.
Yeah.
And I had picked it up, never read it, heard about him promoting it at the time, but never read it until after that. And he was just basically his whole seminar. After the first hour, it was just questions, and he was getting in depth into questions with the people that were asking him.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about how SheLife, aside from originally like how it started, what inspired it, the concept. How has it gone from the concept to where it is today?
Well, shout out to the Aqua Foundation.
Yes.
Because I can't recall if it was right before I was about to run the first event or right after the first event. But I know that Aqua Foundation had a good instill on me to move it further. And they had a women's conference, and I remember seeing women, trans women, bisexual women. They had applied for the scholarship, and they had gotten the scholarship. So they were having a women's conference, and they were going through exercises and things, what to do next for their career, and the winners of the scholarship. And I just remembered there was one guest that got the scholarship. She was a trans woman, and she was crying because she had gotten kicked out of her parents' house because she was changing her gender expression and gender, and she wanted to become a nurse. And if it wasn't for the Aqua Foundation selecting her, then she probably would have been homeless, things like that. So it kind of made me redirect, okay, well, I don't know where to party right now, into a bigger mission. Okay, well, if this is their route and this is how Aqua Foundation is doing it, well, how can I be of service to our community? Now I started thinking of the bigger picture once I saw how Aqua Foundation was making a difference to all these folks. And I was like, whoa, this is a big deal. And how does Aqua Foundation do it? How they were able to fund the scholars was through Aqua Girl, which is the biggest lesbian party in Miami.
Right.
At the beach. So that was well, how can I redirect it? How can I help? And that's how it changed. It changed to that. And I started looking at artists. I started looking at local people, and just kind of moving into that direction. How can I be of service to them? And that was like my motto from that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you just started gathering up DJs, figuring out what venues to go to, kind of give us some insight where it's like, I'm not the best event planner.
Logistics.
The logistics, yes.
I mean, the logistics is very black and white. You find the venue that you would want to go to, and then from there, planning and making a list of who would you like for people to see, or who would you feel that when you hire this artist is going to make a difference in the event, that they're going to remember that event.
Makes sense.
And then from there, it's just basically duplicating that every single time. With new artists, local artists, maybe some national artists. And that way, I like having local and national artists together because I want to let them know, hey, you can do it too.
Right. Yeah.
So it gives them that blend of like, oh my God, I'm here with, let's say, Whitney Mixer, which we had her at Baywatch. When you put someone in that position, you're giving them confidence.
Correct.
And you're giving them and I'm not the one to give confidence, but you're giving them a platform where they can explore that. And I think that I like that. And I've seen it a lot with She Spoke. Next week we're having an event, but our last event in 2018, we made up had like 19 artists.
Wow.
Transgender, drag, local artists, you name it. And there were some that maybe have never performed. And when She Spoke was over, you would see that they were trending now to put themselves out there more. They were more just posting on how they were singing or posting their creativity, and they became more transcendent to that direction. And I started seeing other people getting booked. I saw other people collaborating together, and that was cool to see, because maybe if that event didn't exist, then maybe these connections or this transcendence didn't happen. And that's the whole cause and effect, the butterfly effect that I go by.
Yes. Wow. That's beautiful. That's really cool and very insightful. Very insightful. Being you are what I would consider to be a leader in the lesbian community specifically. What is something that you'd like to see more within the LGBTQ plus community? Maybe even narrowing it down to, the main audience, which are lesbians. I mean, please everyone watch us, but for the most part, what's something that you'd like to see more within the community in general?
I wouldn't want to say more. I think right now, where at, it's, from my experience, I don't think there's more yet. Maybe no, because I feel that right now in this moment, most of the lesbian organizers or event producers are actually getting closer in the sense of, let's say there's a dispute with one or the other. For some reason, I'm still noticing that care or sharing the post. I'm seeing unity. I'm seeing more organizers talking to each other. I'm seeing that collaboration. I'm seeing those reposts. So
that's great.
That there was more where we're at. Where I think we are on the more. We're there. We're there. So within that, I think maybe Miami and Fort Lauderdale could be a cool combination, a cool blend. Because then you have your Miami, your Miami girls, then you have your Fort Lauderdale girls, and maybe blending the two, both the communities together. Because I feel like there's a gap.
Right.
I do see that.
Right.
But in regards to let's say the Miami girl, all the organizers, we talk to each other, either we text each other, hey, and I feel that we didn't have that 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So that's how I'm feeling now about it.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm still new into the community. I've only been around for maybe I think 2 years now, so I have nothing to really compare it to. So that's really nice to know that from 3 to 4 years ago that there's been a vast improvement in the sharing of posts and supporting each other. I think that's beautiful. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I do want you to share a story that you kind of shared with me about having one of your events, DJ Ice being the DJ, and somebody dancing all night long. Can you share a little bit about that with me?
Yes. Just to give a backstory, before that event was like, I didn't do within 9 months I didn't run any events. And because I had felt like the loss of confidence within myself because I did a horrible event on, it was April of, was it 2019, 2018? It was like a Pride event, and there was just conflict within our audience with the security guard and all of that, and I was like, man, can I really do this? We had only 20 guests at the time, and
what did you feel? Did you feel like you failed, or did you?
Yeah, I felt like I was like, man, I failed. Like, I feel like I failed. I felt like I lost some confidence because I was like, man, I'm really trying to put a good event, and it didn't work out.
Right.
And then, they had another room, the venue had another room, and then the guys were like, oh, free drinks here, and come on this side. So there was 2 rooms, and they were just getting the girls to come to their section. So that was that. And then I just was hiatus. But I was learning. I was studying. I was figuring out how to, the Dawn, run events. So I was just learning, constantly just self-improving myself, figuring out what I did wrong, and then we had that event, which is the December 9th event. And I think I totally could attest to this, but that was the moment where we felt we made it, in the sense of like, okay, we understand it, we're getting it, and now we gotta full throttle with it. So that event, by the end of the night, it was like maybe 4 or 5 in the morning. It was at Blind Day, and there's this lady that was still dancing. She came to ICE, letting her know that she's thankful for the event, because if it wasn't for the event, she would have committed suicide. And the fact that was another whole jump, in the sense of like the mindset of thinking, hey, I gotta think bigger than parties. Outside of the Aqua Foundation, I was like, okay, well, how can we elevate our frequency in partying so that if we're able to save lives through partying, let's fucking do it.
Yes.
So every time now when I build events, I'm here like, I gotta think about, if somebody walks in that door, what is their state? And I hope that I'm able to serve them by changing their state, by either watching the artist, having a good time, making a good connection. So that happened. And that was, Ice told me what happened when the lady spoke to her, and we were super grateful for that.
Yeah.
There was another incident that happened at Wynwood Pride, but I would have to let Ice say it because she knows way more of the details, but it happened to her for her. And it was one of the guests came up to her and thanked her for the energy that she gave out, because it was a guy who was feeling like he was not feeling okay.
Right.
And she helped him
feel better.
Exactly.
Isn't that like funny and so rewarding that by doing something that brings us happiness, like creating something like SheLife, throwing a party, just creating a good time for somebody can actually change their state of mind to the point where they feel so alone, so hopeless, that they're willing to just, go. And then go to your event, take that leap of faith, which I'm sure took a lot of courage, bravery, to go to that event, whether they went alone or with somebody. It still takes, courage to go to an event. Social anxiety exists. So that person who went to your event, heard good tunes, felt alive because of those tunes, because of the music, because of the experience, the environment that you created, and you saved them. Like, how amazing and inspiring can you be? That's something that I think people really need to know, that we are so capable of changing lives if you just start doing things, right? If you didn't start doing or creating SheLife, you wouldn't have had these experiences and possibly changed someone's way of thinking that totally changed their life. That's big.
Yeah.
That's very big.
I find it hard to believe sometimes, but that is true. That is true.
That's really big. So what's in store for SheLife? You know, what's happening? Anything that you want to share that's coming up, or?
Yeah. Well, we play soccer now.
Yes.
So we play
yes,
soccer
do.
now. That happened similar to building the event in the sense of like building the first event. It was more like, I want to play soccer and I have nobody to play soccer with. I was like, okay, let's go and see if we can gather some girls to play soccer. Hey, anybody want to play soccer? And it was for Copa America. And we
Nice.
started with 5 girls. And now we have a group chat of 59.
Wow.
But some of them, they hiatus, but then they come back.
Right.
And then we were having weekly soccer events. Now we have our own team that we sponsor. It's called
cool.
the Pandas, and
Nice.
they are preparing themselves to join the league. And we have a captain named Caroline. Caroline, so if you're listening, shout out to you. She's a multifaceted, talented woman. Not only is she a captain, a soccer player, but she will be at SheSpoke next week, doing her thing, giving
Awesome.
her performance. 2022 sounds really intriguing for me. I definitely want to explore more with SheLife, because SheLife is more of a passion project. When I do the events, it's like I feel them. Like I'm called upon to do an event.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like I just receive it from whether it be universe or how I'm feeling or whatever. I don't run events very often or consistent enough in the sense, and just do it. I do it consistently on how I feel.
Makes
Does that make sense? So when I do it, I kind of want to explore more of what SheLife has to offer, just because if I've been doing this just by feeling, what if I'm able to do more past feeling? So I definitely want to explore more. I have some ideas, but I'll wait till 2022.
To share those with us.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
awesome,
Yes.
awesome. All right, we're just gonna cut for 1 second. Natasha, would you kind of just make sure that's still recording? Do you see anything or no?
It says red. Like,
It's still red?
yeah. Yeah, it's still recording.
Awesome. Does it say how many minutes?
24:06.
Yeah.
All right, cool,
You got
thanks.
5 minutes? Or we got a minute?
Cheese.
No, we're good, we're good. I'm just glad-
She spoke. Yeah, she spoke next week.
Yeah, start promote that. All right, so, and take 2. That was a bad clap. Take 2. So, SheSpoke is coming up next week. Tell me a little bit about that, please.
Yes, SheSpoke is a derivative of SheLife events. It's a branch. So now we have like your SheLife Sports, your SheLife SheSpoke, which is more of like talent, showcasing talent, more of the wine and dine. Let me sit down, watch the show, and then after the show is over, then we bring in the party after that.
Very nice. I
So
like that concept.
yeah, it's a blend of both worlds. When I had created the concept in the beginning, I felt from the community that there are people that don't like to party,
Yes.
or they've been tapped out at a party. Like they're just tapped out. There was a point where I used to party almost every single day when I was 19 through 20. No wait,
Me too.
18 through 21.
Oh.
And I was
went
partying
a
every
little bit
single
longer
day
than
except
you.
Monday. Because
Yeah.
Monday, for some reason, Miami had nothing to do. Like, there was nothing on Monday. Now you have Wynwood.
Yeah.
But, there's people that have been tapped out. Maybe what you call nesting. You found your girlfriend. You want to go on a date with her. So SheSpoke kind of fell in that route of like, okay, I want to create this event where it's not just party.
Right.
And then I ended up seeing, okay, well, who could we have represent SheSpoke? Like, who could be a part of it? And I had selected 3 people, our first event. It was like the very first group event that I had committed myself to. Because normally SheLife is just me and my brain and trying to figure things out.
Right.
And then from there, bringing a team along. But here, I had selected Estefania, which she's going to be the host next week.
Awesome.
I had selected Nikki. She is a fire sprinter, yogi, an artist,
Yes.
an entrepreneur.
I love Nikki.
And then Nikki Beach.
Nikki Lopez, right?
I know.
Nikki Beach?
Nikki Beach. She's a fire sprinter, a rock climber,
Nope, haven't met her yet,
entrepreneur.
but I'm gonna.
She's gonna be there next week.
Awesome.
And Jessica, who helped a lot in the logistics, organization, and all of that.
It's great.
So I had first introduced it to Nikki and Estefania at the Cabo Bar, and Estefania ended up coming up with a name called She Spoke, and we were like trying to figure out what name could we do it at, but it went great. The first event went really good. We saw that there was that need, that people really did sit down and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And there was also that need of partying. Okay, the show's already done, let's party.
Yeah.
So now we knew that, okay, this is something that can help, and that's why we're doing it again. Now we have Octavia coming in.
Oh, awesome.
So that's gonna be fun. I'd love to see the dynamic between Estefania and Octavia. That's gonna be cool, because you have your tri-host, your third co-host would be Ice, but that's gonna be fun too.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So tell us where they can get tickets and where they're at. What
Yeah,
kind
you
of
can go to
events.
SheLifeEvents.com or go to Eventbrite. Just type She Spoke under the stars or LGBTQ talent show, and it will pop up and you can get your tickets there. Reserve them, please. Don't wear any heels, because if you wear heels, you might sink under the rocks, because there's like little pebble rocks. It's beautiful.
You should definitely.
I'm totally
You should
gonna
definitely put a flyer.
no heels.
No heels.
But
No heels, ladies.
there's an artist that Stefania referred me to, which is funny, which I had met at Les Chicks Reddit Fair event,
Right.
and she had said that I had a dream about a house with like these tropical trees or whatever. And literally that is what she's painting. She's painting a house with like a tree and a leaf. And
that's awesome.
I let her know, hey, nice to meet you, cutting all that. And then I'm telling her the actual event is in a house.
Wow.
And the backyard is a whole like jungle forest.
Oh, that's so nice.
So when you get there, you're gonna be like, what? It's kind of like the Alice in Wonderland kind of feel, where it's a house, but then the back is just pure trees nursery. So it's a
That's
nonprofit.
beautiful.
That venue is a nonprofit organization. It's called the Center for Subtropical Affairs. So during
Nice.
2020, they were trying to sell their plants, their exotic plants, and I guess they wanted to open an avenue as an event venue just to test the waters.
Right.
And it looked like it worked out for them.
That's amazing.
So now, not only do they sell plants, preserve plants, and educate people about exotic botany, now they do events at night where they use the space to showcase artists.
Wow.
It's
That's
super
beautiful.
nice. It's super beautiful. I recommend it to anyone that wants to go there at any time to do it, because it gives you that inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one with nature.
Yes.
Yes.
I definitely feel that for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, venue is super key. For me, venue is key.
Yeah.
That is key. If I want them to have a good time, like that, and the room or the energy or the venue has to give it away.
Right.
If it doesn't, then I don't book the venue. I've had opportunities to book other venues too, and I would have to decline them because I'm not feeling that energy.
Yeah.
It's like dry, like I can't. No.
She puts in the work for you guys, okay? She does. She
It's
puts
a lot
in.
of work.
She puts in the work, feels the energy. She cares.
Some feng shui.
So be sure, if you aren't following SheLife, if you don't know who Jackie is, please follow this amazing woman. She's amazing. She's killing the game. So just to kind of wrap things up, I'd like to know, what is the legacy that you'd like to leave behind?
I knew you were gonna ask that question. The legacy. I don't know if I have any legacies to leave behind. I think
you've already started, right?
I think that you just gotta commit to yourself and not give up on you. And when you don't give up on you, things will manifest around you. That's where I feel that I've been more, not hard on myself, but more on myself. Like, don't give up on yourself. because the moment that you do, that can also translate to other, the environment or whatever. So that for me would be one thing that just do not give. Find an alternative. What's the alternative? Be resourceful about it.
Give me an example so we can make sure people understand what that means.
When I don't know something, I try to figure out how.
Rather than just not and just
Right.
getting upset about it and saying,
Right.
F it, I'm not going to figure it out, I'm just going to keep being essentially,
Finding the alternative.
finding an alternative.
If not, then what? Like I'm gonna still stay in the same place.
Right.
So that is more of like my thing for me, and I hope that other people can maybe apply it to themselves a bit. But I think that's for me.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Find the alternative. Do great
Find the
things.
alternative.
Do great things. Well, thank you so much for being on LezPod. It's been an honor. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. You're the best. Can I get a hug?
Yeah. Totally.